Hi guys, this is Alex from Muslin Lifestyle. I hope you guys had a great weekend. We had amazing weather and a couple of hot days. Today is super hot, which just means it's awesome for being in my sewing dungeon and sewing away. But if you guys follow me on Instagram, you should have seen me making a muslin for Butterick 6872, and I was working on view A with the flounce, and you know, I have mixed feelings about this pattern, and so far I don't know if I love it, especially with the flounce. But I said I was gonna stay the course and do a sew along, and I adjusted a bunch of things on this pattern, guys. So if you make this pattern, the best advice that I can give you is to make a muslin, especially if you are doing view A. If you're doing view A more than view B and C, and the reason being is view A has you doing bias tape on the front bodice piece and on the back bodice piece, and up to the front bodice and side bodice, right? And once you do that, you have to install bias tape, and then you have to cut your bias tape, and you have to make sure that you essentially have to make sure that you have enough fabric under your arm so it's covering things and you're all tucked in. But the biggest thing is they have you sandwich the flounce in between the front bodice piece and the side front bodice piece. And again, you have already put bias tape on this. So if you are making any adjustments, it's not hard, but you're going to be ripping a lot of finished stuff already. So my biggest advice that I can give you for this pattern is grab some inexpensive, I like to call it cheap fabric, and cut it out and make sure that you are happy with the fit. So I made a muslin, and I'm going to put some pictures up of what my muslin looked like when I was on Instagram and doing polls and the whole bit. But Butterick 6872, it is described at the Something Delightful website as a high waist dress with a square neckline with tucks and sleeve variations, along with a gathered full skirt with flounce hem options. So longer hem, shorter hem. But guys, I called this a nap dress, and I told you sometime like 2 weeks ago, this type of dress is all over the place. New Look also has an amazing dress, but sadly it does not fit me. If not, I would have made that dress. Again, make a muslin, and I'm going to say that a couple of times during this video. Make a muslin, and I am using a rayon challis, and you will see it later on this week. Just a good old rayon challis, just because I want something that it's nice and breathes through the summer, because I bought, for this pattern, I used 3 yards of rayon challis. So let me show you a couple of things, and I have my little iPad here with all my notes, and I put all of these on my blog, which again, there's always a link in the description below, so you guys can click on that and look at the changes that I made to the pattern pieces as I was sewing my muslin and adjusting things along. So the first thing that I had to do was I had to alter the front bodice piece due to gaping right by where my arm is at, where that front bodice piece and the side front bodice piece means. If you can see it in the picture that I'm posting, it has, and you will see it, it has kind of like a dart. And I could have added a dart there, but also I had the flounce. So I didn't want to do that, just because you have a seam, you have a dart, you have a flounce. It's a lot going on, and there's other ways to adjust this. So I went ahead and grabbed my pattern piece, and I created a dart right? So I took my muslin piece, I cut it out, and then I cut out a new piece for the muslin. I tested it out. I was happy with the fit on that. So again, make sure you make a muslin. You may have a gap, and I will say you may or may not have a gap. And if you do have a gap, it's not gonna look cute when you have a seam going down right by your bust and then a dart pointing at your bust. It's a lot going on. And yes, I could have adjusted it in the front bodice, but I didn't want to. I also added 1 inch to the length of the bodice, because if you guys see the way my muslin looks, it just looks very high-waisted. And yes, that's the way the pattern is supposed to look. But then I'm going to also lose 5/8 of an inch on the seam allowance. So it's going to be even higher. So I went ahead and added 1 inch to my front bodice piece, my side front bodice pieces, the back bodice, the side back bodice. So again, and I put all of these on my blog. So if you guys want to see exactly how I did that, they're in my blog. All right, another thing that I was looking at, because I was working on view A, and it's got the flounce, right? So I was looking at the flounce and I said, okay, do I like this much ruffle in my flounce? So I took some off, and I even did a poll on Instagram. You know, do you like the full-blown ruffle? Do you like the scale back? And a lot of people said, I like the full-blown ruffle, but guys, remember, I am bigger at the top. I am a big old rectangle, and if you look at my muslin, me and my shorts, I have almost no waist. It's like 0 waist. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't look even bigger at the top, and then I'm gonna get some more ruffles by my waist. So I adjusted the width of the flounce, and I put a picture, and I just pretty much took off 5 inches off the width of my flounce, and I also increased the length so it covers more of my arm. And I will say this, I still did not care for that. So I went ahead and grabbed my sleeve from, I believe that's view C. So I grabbed the sleeves from view C, and I also decreased the size of those sleeves considerably, probably about, I would say probably like about 4 inches on that too, just because I don't want to look like Snow White about the handout candy to the to the dwarfs. So again, make a muslin on this pattern. And listen, I could have thrown in the towel, right? But I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this pattern. And if I don't like it at the end of the day, there's also a nice little skirt that I can make, because I still have plenty of fabric to go around. So, and then another thing that I did, the pattern asks you to cut three of the flounce for the bottom hem, right? 3 pieces. And if you look at the pattern cover, if you see that right there, so that's pretty much that your bottom hem is gonna be in thirds. I don't like that. I don't like seeing seams in the front. I like my side seams to pretty much meet my side seams. So I went ahead and increased the length of that pattern piece. It's asking you to cut it on the fold, and I cut only 2. Again, all of these adjustments are on my blog. I put pictures in there so you guys can see it. I am going to post the sew along later on this week. Probably it's gonna come out Friday, because I know it's gonna take me a little while. And let me know what you guys think. And let me know if you are working on this pattern at all. If you want, and it's also big on what type of fabric you are using for this pattern. If you like a lot of lift on the flounce and on the sleeves, definitely I would suggest a cotton lawn, maybe like a linen blend. Or if you don't care for any of that and you want something very drapey, perhaps we'll get a rayon or rayon challis. All right, guys. And do you guys do muslins? You know, they're painful to do. I'm not going to say that they're not or that I enjoy doing them. I kind of pace around, go on a 15-mile bike ride, clean, and then I'm like, okay, you really got to get to it. I don't care for doing muslins, but sometimes you have to do them, right? Perhaps to stop you in your tracks, and maybe that's not the way you want to go. Or perhaps, wow, this pattern needs like a million adjustments, more than usual. And I always have to make adjustments. I'm not lucky, one of those lucky ones that say, okay, well, you don't have to make adjustments. I always have to make adjustments to a pattern. It is what we do when we sew. But do you guys do muslins for some of your dresses? Let me know in the comments box below. All right, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys later on this week.